Yo, what's going on, homies? It's your boy Stomp back from the OPTC video, and in today's video, we're taking the 3 new Sugofest characters into some content with their best buddies. With the release of Alba, Mihawk, and Mr.1 for the memorable Zoro scene battles, we do have some new Sugos that work exceptionally well with some of the illustrious Sugos that have come before them. So, going all the way back to the Fearsome Foes campaign last year, we got Cross Guild. Now, Mr.1 is basically Cross Guild's best friend. The upside to Mr.1 is you can actually use his superclass as a sailor. So if he's on the crew, he works amazingly underneath Cross Guild. Today, we're going to obviously run him as a friend captain with Cross Guild as our captain. Then we go into the 10th anniversary where we received Ace, Luffy, and Shanks, and this particular Mihawk works perfectly as a hybrid captain with Shanks. Both of them buff slashers and cerebral characters, plus Mihawk has an ability that gives an overrideable color affinity boost, which means Shanks is going to get his full benefits of a color affinity buff as well as a chain boundary, plus the special of Mihawk can actually give an attack boost, which Shanks can obviously increase by up to 1.5 times. So very, very powerful synergy there. And then finally, probably the strongest synergy of the two, we have Alba and Kaido from the One Piece Day celebration. Both these characters buff driven units, even though Alba buff slashes as well. Kaido is going to be a rainbow booster, but the more driven characters you have on the team, you are going to get a higher buff depending on how many driven characters you have. So today's video, we're taking all of them into Revolution Army 2 or Dofi 2. Normally, I like to do separate videos for showcases and stuff like that, but I figured just sort of throwing all of these guys together into one video, putting it out, doing one run of each, I thought that would be the best way to showcase these guys. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff. Now for today, we are bringing one staple, one contingent across the entire team, and that is Zoro and Sanji. Whilst all 3 of these characters have a best buddy in Cross Guild, Shanks, and Kaido, all of them can make use of Zoro and Sanji. Zoro being part of their super types or their super classes or their abilities being the final tap or the super tandem respectively for Mihawk, Mr.1, and Alba. So if you have Zoro, Sanji, once again, the King stays winning, and Slash is obviously getting a lot of support that they don't really need because Slashers are like one of the best classes in the game. So hopefully they continue this trend moving forward to buff some of the other classes in the game, like Driven, like Strikers, like Shooters got a lot of support recently. Fighters probably need a little bit more help. Cerebrals definitely need a little bit more help. So hopefully when we see these memorable scenes for the other Straw Hats, we can get some pretty big buffs there. But with that said, let's start it off with Mihawk and Shanks because, you know, I'm a little bit biased in that kind of regard. And let's dive in. Alright, so for Shanks and Mihawk, I'm actually going to take on Heavenly Demon 2. And for these teams, I tried to keep it a little bit contingent to what the typings, classes, and areas of the anime terms of characters to be put on the team. So for this particular team, for Shanks and Mihawk, as I mentioned, one of the big upsides to both of these characters as a leader is they both buff slashes and cerebral characters. So you can build out a team that has cerebral units and slasher teams, and all of them will still be getting buffs no matter what. Now, Shanks obviously buffs Psi characters as well, so you could probably do some fun stuff there. But like I said, most of the time you're going to be funneling in slashers, as these obviously this whole batch is built up around slasher characters. But if you need to throw in some cerebral characters, like you can see with the Luffy, Uta, and Makino unit, as well as the Nami legend down the bottom there, you definitely can do that for your team builds. The final unit on this team is we brought Roger Rayleigh Gaban. Roger Rayleigh Gaban is just a fantastic character. I thought works really, really well, being obviously Shanks' mentor, and then Mihawk obviously having beef with Shanks, and obviously going to have something to do with the Roger Pirates, right? Like, surely, he was there the day Roger was executed, so it makes sense to throw Roger Rayleigh Gaban. And then, like I said, Zoro Sanji work exceptionally well, even though Sanji might not be getting buffed. So even though Sanji isn't really getting buffed under either of the captains, the switchability of Zoro Sanji is just so damn powerful that it's kind of just like a must bring on all 3 of these characters' teams. The upside to Zoro Sanji switchability, giving an attack boost, orb buff, and tandem orbs, just unlocks the potential abilities for some of these characters, especially Mihawk and Shanks on the final stage, so that way you can get the super tandem of Mihawk. Now, the upside to Shanks and Mihawk together is that Shanks is a rush character, where Mihawk is a super tandem character, and both Mihawk and Mr.1, their super tandems only need one character to tap in the chain to activate that said super tandem ability. Now, they can only use Zoro or Shanks for Mihawk, and then obviously Zoro and Crocodile for Mr.1, but once you get to the final stage and you can activate the super tandem ability, it can be very, very strong for your slasher and cerebral based teams. The big contingency with, or the big upside to running both of these guys as captains, Shanks and Mihawk, is that really you have both those classes available to you. Can you build some particular teams? But the big drawing point is that you can activate the super class of Mihawk to get that overrideable color affinity boost, as you guys can see there. And then we also can use Shanks special to give us a chain boundary as well as a color affinity buff. On top of that, if you do use the Mihawk special as well, you have that attack boost, which then Shanks can obviously increase, which becomes very, very powerful. Another upside to having Zoro and Sanji with their overrideable buffs allows Mihawk to be an attack booster and a tap timing booster as well. So you can do some really, really fun stuff with getting massive attack boosts, massive tap timing. Zoro and Sanji are bringing chain shenanigans as well, so that way you can get their buffs. And then you also have Shanks giving the massive 4x color affinity, getting the chain boundary as well. And pretty much all you're missing here is a orb buff, where Shanks' EX, lo and behold, actually gives you an orb buff as well. So if you are running Shanks and Mihawk as hybrid captains, you have access to an attack boost, a orb boost, a color affinity boost, and a chain boundary, all at very, very high margins, allowing your slashes to get a lot of damage output. On top of that, you have a rush on the first tap, moving into a super tandem on the second tap, which allows the rest of your characters to hit really hard, throw in a very nice final tap, and then all of a sudden you're hitting incredibly hard at the back end of the chain. So the two of them together work exceptionally well. This was a great stage to showcase how much power Shanks and Mihawk have as captains, just allowing us to get an attack boost from Roger Rayleigh Gaban, which only buffs our slashes, strength, and in characters, and then also getting the orb buff from Shanks, just bursting through all of that damage reduction that is on stage. I don't even know what stage this is. It's stage 8 of Dofi 2, just allowing us to kill all 3 units without even needing to remove the damage reduction. Now, there have been characters in the past that have done that, but the limited amount of specials just makes that incredibly, incredibly nice. Upside to Mihawk as a captain too, is he reduces your special charge, verse gauge, and your super swap gauge by 2 charges at the start of the quest. So that allows you to get these abilities up very quickly. And all you have to do is hit a perfect before tapping with the next character to get that massive 5.75 multiplier. Shanks is obviously starting at a 6x captain, going up to a 6.5, which is going to be a much better captain option. And Mihawk could work as a sub for Shanks. But I think what they've tried to do with this particular combination is recognize that Shanks and Mihawk are kind of equals. And they've never, there's never been once proven that Shanks has beaten Mihawk in a fight, Mihawk beating Shanks in a fight. So I think they wanted to really incorporate that aspect into the captain abilities, making both of them very strong, making them work in tandem with each other very nicely, only allowing Mihawk to get his super class if he is the captain, so that way you don't have to run him as a sub underneath Shanks, while still giving him a very powerful captain ability too. He can also give increased damage taken that goes through full immunity too. That's also... Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure it goes through full immunity. It's also something that is incredibly strong that he can provide too. So as you can see, you can get the rush of Shanks with the first tap. As long as Shanks or Mihawk has a tandem orb, which his super class actually gives a tandem orb, which then gives him the perfect lock as well. So that way you can keep that moving to the final stage. As you can see, you get it off pretty easily there, and you can easily kill with 2 taps on the final stage of Dofi 2. So that's Shanks and Mihawk, very powerful combination. Let's move on to Mr.1 and Cross Guild. Alright, so Mr.1 and Cross Guild was basically, when I first read the information for Mr.1, this was the one that just jumped out at me straight away, that I went, holy crap, like this character is just made to be used with Cross Guild. The abilities of Mr.1 obviously allowing him to get his super class as a sailor, and then giving cooldowns to the top right and middle right, reducing his own cooldown by 13 after he uses a special. It just screamed Cross Guild to me, and having that sort of 2-stage special. So I immediately just thought, okay, how's this guy going to work underneath Cross Guild or alongside Cross Guild? Now, unlike Shanks and Mihawk, I do think that Mr.1's best use is as a sub in that middle right-hand slot underneath Cross Guild as a sailor, rather than actually as a hybrid captain. The captain ability of Mr.1 is very unique in the sense that he can actually give stackable increases to the final tap buff, very similar to what Yamato was actually doing But every time a character uses a sailor, especially uses a special, you are going to start getting this stackable buff, which is actually very interesting. The downside to it is that can be removed with Red Haki, which unfortunately does happen in this particular fight in Revolution Army 2. But I thought like bringing Mr.1 and Cross Guild just to sort of satisfy the conditions of this particular video would work best if I ran them as hybrid captains as well. Cross Guild obviously being a driven slasher booster and Mr.1 being a driven slasher booster just works really nicely together, so that way you don't have to worry about just bringing slasher characters on the team. You can actually incorporate driven characters as well. Lo and behold though, I just ended up building a slasher team. I tried to just sort of funnel into what Cross Guild and Mr.1 were doing, but realistically all I needed to do was just bring characters to just satisfy the content, because the two of them together, obviously with their pseudo double and triple special activation, just handle a lot. Plus we were also going to bring Zoro and Sanji as our staple, so that way you can get the attack and orb boost every single turn. We can get the tandem orbs, and with the tandem orb on Mr.1 we can activate his super tandem every single turn. Unlike Mihawk, you can actually utilize the super tandem of Mr.1 throughout the entire quest. So as long as you get a tandem orb on him at any point, or a tandem orb on Crocodile, or I believe it's Zoro as well, you can activate his super tandem for slashes and driven characters every single turn, which is very powerful when you are doing these longer runs. For obviously big damage teams, it's really not essential, like you just need it for the final stage, but when you are doing sort of these longer runs with multiple stages and you need multiple damage, more damage for multiple stages, it can be very beneficial to have that, as we've seen with Zoro Sanji and how powerful their actual abilities are. But realistically, most of the time you're going to be seeing users on the final stage, if you were looking to do that, the sort of big damage burst. But these characters have come out in a particular time where there's no crazy content like super bosses or anything like that, so I don't really see the damage later on being a need. But it was a really great way to showcase this particular ability by diving into a longer piece of content like Revolution Army 2. The combination of Cross Guild and Mr.1 as captain works great, because Cross Guild can actually remove Despair in their captain ability, and then Mr.1 can actually remove Bind in his special. So if you were running him as a sailor or as a hybrid captain, and wherever you needed that Bind to be, you can actually utilize him to remove that, and it works very nicely. We don't actually use him for that particular reason. I did want to showcase his pseudo double special activation on the final stage, so we are using Cross Guild to sort of make our way through the actual content, and utilizing the other three characters, Brook, Rayleigh, and Kaku, to actually just sort of clear the content. Ideally, I wanted to bring characters that I could kind of get pseudo double special activations on. Brook obviously having double special activation, Rayleigh getting his cooldowns back. Kaku even not being on such a low cooldown, you could easily get his special back for 2 turns. And I really wanted to showcase that to try and build up some of the final tap buffs that Mr.1 can provide. Now, obviously, you get hit with Red Haki on the Sabo and what's it called stage, so you aren't going to have all of it, but I did want to showcase a little bit of it nonetheless. So the two of these characters together work quite nicely. There's no like crazy utility that the two have. Obviously, like Shanks and Mihawk kind of fall in that same boat. Like Shanks removes Bind, but that's realistically about it. Where Cross Guild removes Despair, and that's really about it. So the two of them together, they do work quite nicely. The team functions and flows quite smoothly, and I was actually pleasantly surprised that the two could actually clear the content so efficiently, given they have like so many specials and stuff like that under their belt. So as you can see, you get that final tap buff thanks to Mr.1 on the final stage. Mr.1 will give himself 13 turns of cooldown whenever you use his special. Now this is a bit weird because he still does need 1 turn of cooldown when you use the special, but I believe if you put him in the middle right hand slot, that he should give himself the cooldown, and then the 13 turns will sort of trigger, making it very easy to do that. But another really easy way to get that too is with the EX of Cross Guild. Giving them everyone 2 turns of cooldown allows you to get that back with the 2 turns of cooldown there. You can also double stack attack and orb boost with Mr.1 superclass. He also gives HP guard, which is a fantastic ability. It's not 100% HP guard, I believe it's 75%, but it's a fantastic ability when you have Cross Guild's rush. So that way you can just get many rushes off without having a massive HP pool. And then obviously, just like Shanks and Mihawk, you have that 1-tap super tandem, so you can rush turn 1 into a super tandem and then funnel into your final taps later in the fight. My bad. And finally, we probably have the most powerful combination of the two, being Alba and Kaido. Now, Verse Kaido is a rainbow captain, which is very strange, but does really require having 4 driven characters at least on the team to function as well as he actually does. And obviously Alba being a slasher and driven captain just allows you to sort of build out his team with a bunch of beast pirates to not only activate the super class or the super type of Alba, but also activate the super tandem of Kaido as well. Now Kaido has probably one of the best super tandems for driven characters. However, he's always had that little bit of an issue that all the driven characters have sort of just been either like beast pirates, Big Mom pirates, or Blackbeard pirates, and the best characters kind of have always overlap themselves. So it's been very hard to sort of put all of the best echelons of those characters onto a team and then satisfy the super tandems when Blackbeard obviously is not going to work with Verse Kaido, as Blackbeard's super tandem just sort of doesn't go into that particular unit. So the upside to Alba is he allows you to get the versatility of Kaido a lot easier in these particular quests that are not just sort of like boosted events. He gives a Wano slot to the right hand column, so that way if you are running Kaido as your captain, you're always going to see a Wano slot on him. And whether or not you're using Alba as a friend captain or as a sub, using him as a sub on the right hand side, you'll also get that one orb there. Nevertheless though, like Alba doesn't need that, but I believe Alba has to be a friend captain to activate his super type. So having him as a friend captain alongside Kaido, or vice versa, however you guys want to look at it, is always going to be the best play. Now, the real upside to the two of these guys together is the amount of utility that you get. As long as you have 4 driven characters on the team, which, as you can see, this team is actually a full driven team because Zoro is actually driven on the Zoro Sanji part, which is great because when we need it, we can actually get 6 driven characters on the team. With the at least 4, you're going to get the paralysis and special reverse removal of Kaido, whilst also just having that built-in bind and despair removal from Alba. So the two of them together are just the utility gods. You just get around 4 separate debuffs that are very annoying, and all you really have to take care of at that particular point is special bind. And like the amount of special bind characters in the game nowadays is just absolutely crazy. Obviously we have other debuffs we have to not worry about, like pain and burn and all that crazy stuff too. But the upside to Alba is he actually removes burn, and he can also remove resilience, which is a bit of a nuisance when it comes to taking down some particular bosses. But I have found that with Kaido obviously being 6 driven characters, you can actually get his end of turn damage. So the resilience was a bit of a weird choice when I read that on Alba. But at the same time, it is a very annoying gimmick to get around, especially when it's like 10 turns or 7 turns or something weird like that, and there's barriers and stuff that are involved as well. So the two together just function so nicely. Alba, if you have a full driven team, can actually apply the weakness debuff that goes through full immunity, and obviously Kaido with his ability to apply increased damage taken that goes through full immunity if you have 6 driven characters, allows you to just get a lot more damage output with these particular characters. Upside to Alba is too, I believe he makes tandem orbs, and no, he makes quick orbs into Wano, so you're getting a higher chance of landing on Wano slots with your Kaido unit, so that way you can actually start building up his versatility multiple times throughout a quest. Kaido's versatility is actually pretty easy to get. You just have to like pass the turn or tap with a Wano tandem, and I think it's a recovery orb as well, so the two work well together. Now this team was actually really fun to build because we threw on all of the beast pirates, trying to keep it very like synergetic to the actual anime and the actual lore of the beast pirates. So this was actually really fun, and whilst all these combinations are really strong, they're really powerful, they're not game breaking or anything like that. The biggest draw factor to them is they've just brought a lot of fun to team building, and they brought a lot of fun to actually running the content. I actually really enjoyed making this video and building out these teams. Honestly, like not even really intentionally, just building out these teams to function to beat. Sure, it's older content, but it's still 13 star content, and we are no stalling every single part of this video as well. So that's also something to take note of. But the amount of fun I had actually just sort of building out these teams with the synergistics qualities of the new legends with old legends, it's so refreshing. And I really hope that with these memorable scenes celebrations, which you bet your ass we're gonna get more of these memorable scene celebrations for Straw Hats in the future. Like you bet your ass, like next month it's gonna be Sanji. Like after anniversary it's gonna be Nami. After that it's gonna be Usopp. Like you just know they're gonna keep this trend up, and I really hope that if they do, they keep this trend going where they're buffing classes and they're also buffing older characters, illustrious characters like Super Sugos and Anniversary exclusives, so that way people are feeling a little bit more refreshed when they use them either as a friend captain, or when they eventually pull them, they can actually use them as a sub on the team as well. But that's going to wrap up the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section below who you guys like the most out of the perfect partners, and while you're down there, bell the like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff for me. Most importantly though, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, thank you all for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one. Let's